Hey, Bruce Emery here. This book that I want to preview of mine is called Guitar from Scratch Streamlined Edition. And the point of this book was to give the teacher a more succinct course of study that they can give their students. My other books are really designed to be used with just by the lone picker, someone just wants to sort of try some things on their own. So because of that, there's a lot of hand holding and a lot of, extra, just verbiage that helps people get through material like this. I figured this book, let me trim all that out and let you, the teacher, supply the extra verbiage and the trimmings and everything. So I think this gives a good, it starts off with chords, runs through keys, chord families, does some individual note playing, single string playing, and winds up with some blues. I think it's a good basic course. It starts off, let me show you the Guitar from Scratch, Streamlined. Starts off with, the basic chords. So it start off with an E minor, an A minor, and C and G. And enough chords to get you started playing in the key of G, which is, of course, probably the easiest key to play in. And right away, I want to establish this thing about the 1, 4, 5 chords. 1, 4, 5 being major, 2, 3, 6 being minor. The 3 we don't worry about too much. Key of G. G is the 1, G, A, B, C is the 4, and D is the 5. Okay, and then the minor chords, you have, you'll have an A minor, an E minor, and a B minor. And so this just lays all this out. It gives some examples with different, fairly simple songs that people can play through and get the feeling. And it gets right into the rhythm changes, which is the 1, 6, 2, 5 progression. The old, boom, gets right into that, and we'll use that in all of the 5 keys. We're going to go through, the keys of C, G, D, A, and E, the most important guitar keys. So there are examples, and page 12 you get right into the C chord family, C, F, and G, A minor, D minor, E minor. With the examples that were given before in the key of G are repeated here, so they can run through that. Strumming, this is the thing that you really need to have a teacher to help you learn how to strum. I give examples of the rock strum pattern, which I call the down, down, up, down, up, down, up. The folk strum pattern is more the Peter, Paul, and Mary, And then the country strum pattern, the boom chickas, So get them started on the strum patterns. Picks back up with the D chord family, D, G, and A. We're going to get through A chord family and E chord family. And there's a little section on jazz chords, basic, simple, down the neck jazz chords, major 7ths, minor 7ths, A couple pages on that. Suspended chords, the D, sus4, sus2, A, sus4, sus2, G, same deal. Where they get used. Anchor chords, the idea of this G5 or either this 4-finger G or the G5 chord that alternates with the C sus2 and then maybe the D sus4, E minor 7, how to use these anchoring approaches that a lot of modern rock music uses. Page 31, chord summary. It's, I don't know, there must be 20, 30 chords on here, all basic down the neck chords. Finger picking. What can we do with different way to deal with these chords? And I like to start off with some of the basic fingerstyle patterns, arpeggios. I talk about a higher tier and a lower tier, overlapping tiers of strings, and the bass is independent of that. It can be 6-string, 5th-string, 4th-string. Plenty of other kinds of not too many different. It's not good to get people too strung out on too many different patterns at first. It's got a couple different variations that you can like. My finger picking book has a lot more of that in it. Fingerstyle examples. Travis picking, okay? You may or may not. Travis picking is the alternating bass, and the simplest approach is what they call the inside-out pattern. And it's on C chord is a 5th string bass, G chord is a 6th string bass. Okay. There, I believe I get into the pinch patterns, where you do the pinch on count 1. This is the dust in the wind. So that's just the briefest of introductions to finger picking. Next comes chords up the neck. Power chords first. You know, the E major chord. If you just take the 6th, 5th, and 4th strings of that and put a little bar behind it, move it around. There's your power chord. You have the 5th string power chord. Introduces that concept back and forth between the two root, root 5 and root 6. And then is when I introduce the bar chords. I think the power chords a little bit easier to make, and the first bar chord I show is the minor, like the F sharp minor is the first chord that I show on page 42. And then we'll add the major, so making it a little bit harder as we go, not overwhelming people. Give them a chart where they can locate these root notes on the 6th string, so they can put this bar where they need to get the chord that they want. I have examples in the key V and A. A little bit about the use of the capo, where to put the capo on different frets to be able to use the same, or to be able to use chord forms you like to play in a key that maybe you don't like the way the chords, or maybe it's a flat key and you just want to put a capo on and not have to play flat chords. Okay. There's chord families at a glance, page 47. Okay, then comes bunches of useful chords, kind of a chord dictionary on page 49. A chords, B chords, C chords, D chords, E chords. And then, major, minor, and dominant. Slash chords, where you have it other than the root and the bass. Like you have a G chord, and instead of the D with the D in the bass, you put the F sharp in the bass, and down you go to the E minor. How to use that. A couple pages of different slash chord sequences. Individual notes, playing, runs. Experience doing that, talking about the scales that those notes are taken from, G scale, C scale, whatever key you're in. Playing melodies. The main thing about this part, page 65, is impressing the alternate picking, the down, up, down, up. So I've, stupid examples of just down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And when you don't play a steady stream of 8th notes, you still have to keep that down, up, arm motion going. So you might have down, down, up, down, up, down, up. You wouldn't go down, up, down, up, down. You know this already. These are examples to let them see and practice this, trying to keep the steady down, up, going. Let's see. Run through the different major scales, C, A, G, E, and D. Those the caged scales, so they get a chance. Then it gets into 12-bar blues format. I mean, I think major scale information, very important, but it's not as useful right away. I think people want to start playing the blues almost right away, is what they prefer to do. And I think that's a more attractive way to get people picking individual notes. So key of E is first, 12-bar format, the E and the A, or E or E7, A or A7, B7, and you've got the 6 to 7, all that kind of stuff. I give those examples. And then a few other ways to play that little guitar shuffle boogie woogie thing, but then get them right into playing lead. So then, in the key of E, let's get them going with the E minor pentatonic scale that I'm sure you learned first, just like I did. Some exercises on running up and down the scale, finding, making certain that they know where the roots are of the scale. Hammer-ons, pull-ups, and some bends, just a little bit of roaming around. The idea of taking little phrases like and not just run the scale over and over. That's kind of pointless, but it's a good start because you find out where all the notes are. But then home in on a neighborhood and play those. Give them that experience, and you can back them up while they play these lead sections. Might as well go to the next spot at the neck. I give a little bit of that, so they get the idea. And some of the turnarounds, just a smattering of stuff here, really, just to get their minds in the right groove. That was all the key of E. Let's take them to the key of A too. And again, we go back to the bottom, 12-bar blues, riffs, all of that, examples of variations on that. And then, now that we're in the key of A, we go up the neck to the 5th fret. We take these notes here. Let's move the whole shooting match to the 5th fret. So we give them pretty much the same material again, just moved up to the 5th fret in this case. And there's a diagram that says, well, if you're going to play the blues in any other key, here are the root notes on the 6th string that you need to start at. Think about putting your bar there, and then start your wherever you are. Okay, lots of little examples there. And then, since we're up the neck, not only are we going to move to the position that's analogous to the one down here. Okay, not only are we going to take that one, is this lower shape that comes below that root note. So we have the basic scale straight across, or we can start lower. Or we can continue going higher into this next shape up the neck. That gives them a lot, that's Eric Clapton right there, that gives them a lot of stuff to mess around with. A little discussion on the major pentatonic scale, the differences between the major and the minor, and that pretty much winds it up. So I hope that, and in the very back I do have some blank chord diagrams and tab sheets. If you want to run those off, feel free, and you can use them for your lessons if you like. So I hope that as a guitar teacher you may give this a whirl. I think you certainly would want to add your own favorite things as well. But this is a good framework, kind of a backbone. You can skip things you don't like, and you can throw in your own stuff. But it just gives you, and it gives the students something they can take home with them, and just, I got this book, So I hope that will fulfill that function, and I hope you enjoyed it if you use it. Thank you very much.